La boo boo, la boo boo. Oh, look how amazing my la boo boo is. But you know something that's even better than my la boo boo? Is what me and the boy Sam experienced yesterday. Say hi, Sam.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Oh!
sir. It's gonna be good stuff. Good,
Oh!
good talk. We had a great time. You already know.
Yeah, for real. Wait. I forgot to ask. Did you start your camera?
It's been started like 4 minutes ago.
Oh. What?
The whole time. The whole time.
Oh,
Been like
okay.
that, bro.
Oh, okay. All right. Imagine we did the whole thing and you weren't recording. I'd be like, all
No,
right.
yeah, that'd be awful.
Okay. Well, this is probably weird, especially for the greatest Dane out there. You know, seeing your boys.
The shout out.
The shout out. Your boys doing a podcast, dude, and it's our first one, but I want to do these consistently. I think it'd be a lot of fun, but that's not the point. The point is we got to do something very special yesterday, and as you know, me and Sam are very like prominent, and we like to express our belief in God and our faith. We're not very shy
Amen.
about that, and we got to see Cliff yesterday. Wasn't that amazing?
Heck yeah, dude. That was crazy. It really felt unreal, bro. I can't lie.
For real. Honestly,
Like when. Oh, go ahead.
okay. Honestly, I've met like quite a few like celebrities. Like I met Hayden Christensen, aka Anakin Skywalker. I've met the voice actor for Naruto, the voice actor even for my favorite anime, Chainsaw Man. I've met a lot of different people, and by far, this was the experience that felt very different because Cliff just has this aura, this absolute aura about him. And it's like, it's not even like a meme. It's like actually like when you walk into the room and this guy's talking, you're like, oh, this guy knows how to presentate. He has like a certain feeling about him. And yeah, it was different.
You know?
For real.
Mm-hmm. No, it was crazy, bro. Yeah. I think the craziest because like I've never like met a quote celebrity or anything.
Right.
So this was technically my first time. Like I've never gone to concerts, never met in person with anybody, any conventions or anything like that. So this was a completely new experience, and it was really weird because entering that room, seeing him standing there preaching, I'm like, bro, I feel like I'm in those videos that I usually watch.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't believe it, dude. It was surreal, but super cool experience. We got to shake his hand, which is crazy.
Yeah.
That was insane, bro. That was peak.
Dude, and people might not know this, but bro has huge hands. Bro, Cliff has huge hands, and I can see why he played basketball, bro.
Yeah. This guy's insane.
The guy has straight mitts for hands.
I wonder if he because if he was in basketball, I wonder if he did like any weightlifting and stuff like that. I know I've seen some old videos of him doing the preaching.
Yeah.
But I wonder, I wonder if he was doing like heavy lifting and trying to get all crazy,
I think he just played basketball. I think that was just his thing, as far as I'm aware. I don't know if he was good at it, but he's like about my height, and he still had like bigger hands than me. He's like 6'2". He's probably like 6'3", 6'4", maybe. He's a pretty tall dude. He's a fairly tall dude. We're actually gonna throw out pictures on the screen because we actually did get pictures with him.
Heck yeah.
And that was really cool. We got to do that even before people were taking pictures at the end because he was just kind of walking around the room as his son would talk to some of the people asking questions, and he just popped up right beside us because we were next to the line, and he thought we were in line to ask questions, and they were trying to get people who were not Christians or followers of Christ to the front of the line so that they could answer their questions. And he just comes up out of nowhere to me and Sam like, "Are you a follower of Christ?" and puts out his hand. And I'm like, oh dang, he just like ambushed us out of nowhere. And I shake his hand. I'm like, "Yes, I'm a follower of Christ." But that's the moment, man, right there and then. When I grabbed his hand, I'm like, this is the hand of a basketball player. Straight up. Straight up.
Right. But that's that aura too. That's what's crazy is like him just kind of summoning there. That was the aura. Like, holy, that's insane. Holy crap, bro. He summons out of nowhere, saying hello. Heck yeah. I had a smile on my face when I saw him. shook his hand. That was really cool. We even got a photo with him, which was crazy. Um, yeah, that was some, bro. To be able to like stand right there with him, and it was so surreal. It really was. And what's cool, you mentioned this before. Like after the event, is that the aura was just like, it's like a spiritual aura. It's not like you see him and you're kind of in awe in a way of like you see Darth Vader
Yeah.
or Piccolo or some. No,
Right.
it's just a spiritual aura. Like this guy knows what he's talking about. Cliff knows what he's talking about. He's done his research. He's done his time, spending time with God, in prayer and devotion, and he's just dedicated to do that. And that reflects onto you. Like at the end of it, I was like, man, I really need to spread the gospel more. I just felt pumped. I just
Right.
felt pumped from it. I really did. I felt motivated to obviously, yes, do my own thing individually, talking with God, learning more about God, and that, but also to share what I've learned, my stories, my experiences, as well as what the Bible says.
Right.
It just gave me that motivation.
It also felt more authentic, authentic, because when you go to these events, first of all, you don't pay to go to these. Like, you don't pay to get in.
Hmm.
It's not like Comic-Con where you're there and you're like there to meet a voice actor or a celebrity. You not only do you have to pay to get into the place, but then you have to pay to meet the person usually and get a picture and all that sort of stuff. I mean, sometimes you can just talk to them, but you pay a lot of money to do this. Like, there's obviously the reason these things happen, especially like Comic-Con or Fan Expo, is because you you're paying for the experience and they're there for money. That is
Hmm.
not what Cliff is there for. He's not there to make money. He's not there to turn a profit. He legit goes out of his way to go to these college campuses and actually talk to people about Christ. And
Hmm.
we walked in. Um, they were prioritizing students, but we were still able to get in. Even some of my friends, including you, who aren't current students, were able to get in and go in there
Yep.
and talk and ask questions and actually just meet the dude, just have a
Mm.
conversation with him. And it was a completely free experience. And I think that adds to the fact that, like, you can tell his motive. You can tell that he honestly
Right.
cares about people. He loves people and he cares about them. I even saw in a video before we even got on here that he was talking to a student and the student's like, "Oh, I love you." And then Cliff back was like, "Oh, I love you too, but I wouldn't if I didn't love you, I wouldn't be here because the whole reason I'm here is cuz I love you guys and I want you guys to turn to Christ." And
Hmm.
yeah, man, it was crazy. It was honestly a crazy experience. Honestly, though, what was your favorite part about it? Like, what was a moment when you were there where you're like, man, this made the day?
All right, that's a good question, but let me touch back real quick because I thought of something. Is going off of what you said about like it being completely free. It gave me just the vibe of like, look, even though I'm seen as a celebrity, Cliff,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to treat myself like one. He just,
Right.
like you said, with the authenticness, he portrayed himself as just a regular dude.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't try to. He wasn't showy. He wasn't trying to be special. He addressed like, look, I don't know the answer to some things. I'm
Right.
not perfect. I loved that about him. I've always loved that about him. But it was cool to see that in action in person. Him addressing like, look, I don't know all the answers. So that's what really I thought was so cool was it's not. Yes, while we may look at it as okay, we're going to see this really cool guy, this celebrity, even in our eyes, he didn't treat it like that,
Right.
and that was really cool. But going off your question, James, is what was my favorite part? Man, I don't know because like it was so good, man. I like by default I want to say getting that photo with him, right, and shaking his
Yeah.
hand. By default, I want to do that, but the messages were actually just really good. I really liked them. Like I was nodding my head like, amen, facts. With a lot of the stuff that he said, and it really. I was actually telling you, I remember I told you this when we were sitting. I was like, man, it feels like I'm in church. That's what it felt like. It felt like I was in church, and it didn't feel too different, but it was just a unique experience because like this is not my pastor. It's not my dedicated pastor going to church or anything. It was different. It was this online influencer who dedicates himself to the Lord, serving to bring others to Christ, and being able to see that in person. I really think that was probably my favorite part. As much as I would love to say to see him in person and give him that handshake and get that photo, it was just to see him preach in action was just really cool. That's got to be my favorite.
Honestly, I think like straight up with you, basically the same thing. Like getting that photo was very nice, and being able to just like shake his hand and just get that photo, being like, man, I really got to see this guy in person and talk to him and shake hands with him. But dude, yes, the things that he was preaching, I was sitting there, I'm like, man, this feels like church. It almost feels like church.
Mhm.
And that was a very good feeling, but it wasn't quite like church. It was different. I don't know how to explain it. It was very much different. I can't even put it into words. That's why I'm kind of lost on explaining it,
Yeah.
because it was like church, yes, but like you said, you're watching someone who you've seen on the internet preach to thousands upon thousands upon thousands of students. You've seen all his viral clips, seen all that sort of stuff, but actually being able to see that in person was just it was a different experience totally. Like 100%. It was honestly so freaking cool. It was so cool.
Yeah, and one thing kind of relating to what you said where it felt like church but not quite. Another reason why it didn't really feel like church at the same time but was still obviously a good experience was just seeing the unbelievers, those who weren't Christian, asking him these questions. Like you don't see that in a church. It's just pastor up there talking about the gospel, talking about the Bible, whatever. Which is still good. Like don't get me wrong, but it was just different because I think personally I've never. I don't know about you, James, but I know I haven't been in like a Christian event where the pastor or whoever's up there talking is asking questions to these or reverse that, answering questions to these unbelievers who are curious about Christianity. It was interesting, very interesting. What do you think about that? Because like obviously we've seen it, but like in the moment, I don't know, it just felt different seeing that.
Dude, you know what? You know what's crazy? I honestly thought that I I honestly thought that things weren't actually going to get heated, because it seemed like when we first entered the
Right?
room, everything was very, very peaceful, and people were just asking basic questions. And I noticed that it was a lot of Christians, which is why
Mhm.
Cliff came by and was like asking people in line, like, "Hey, are you a Christian, a follower of Christ, or are you uh, someone who disagrees or isn't a follower of
Mhm.
Christ?" And when things started picking up, when there were these students who would just like want to argue about everything with Cliff, and then Cliff
Yep.
started raising his voice a little bit, not out of anger, but out of passion. I was like, oh my goodness,
Especially at
these,
the end, man.
yeah, especially at the end. I'm like, those are the viral moments that I've seen
Hmm.
all over the internet, like on Instagram, on TikTok. And I'm like, I'm actually seeing this in person. But I'm not going to lie to you, bro. This is the one thing that gets me, okay? I feel that if you're going to argue with someone who, first of all, has spent their entire life in a religion and have followed Christ,
Hmm.
you ought to at least have opened the Bible once before making all of these judgments and trying to argue and debate someone who knows everything almost about the Bible. Like maybe not everything, but someone who is very
Yeah.
connected with the faith. And some of these students, they would just like make an argument. They would clearly like not know what they're talking about. Cliff would correct them respectfully, right?
Right.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
they would give up their argument, and then they would start a new one, and then when that one got shot down, they'd go back to their original argument like it was still like legit, even though it was
Hmm.
just approved. disproved. And the crazy thing is that there was this dude, man. There was this dude who was up there for like 45 minutes sitting there
Oh man.
saying the same thing over and over. And, God bless whoever that was, straight up.
Yeah.
But, dude, he was up there for 45 minutes constantly saying the same thing over and over. And even Cliff was like, man, my son, you could take this right now. And they had to swap out
Yeah.
because this dude was taking forever and just saying the same thing over and over and over. And people in line were getting frustrated. Like, they were like, dude, like, end the conversation already. Been going on forever. And he would just not stop talking, and he would just kept on saying the most random things that were disproven over and over and over by Cliff. But you know what?
He,
At least he had that conversation with Cliff, because
yeah.
I would have rather him have that conversation and I actually experienced someone like Cliff who could correct him on the things that maybe he was wrong about that he was saying, and give a prime example of what a follower of Christ looks like and how he presents himself in debates. And that was great. I think that was great.
Right.
And I'm not going to lie, dude, sometimes it got really heated. Like, there was one girl who was
Oh
really
yeah.
trying not to lose
Yeah.
her argument. And she was like embarrassed, clearly, because she
Mhm.
had been basically like disproven in front of all these people who most of them probably don't share her opinion. And,
Mhm.
Cliff was
He was
still
getting
generous.
emotional too.
Yeah, she got
She was
very
getting emotional.
emotional. She was getting like, very nervous towards the end. Her eyes were
Mhm.
getting watery. And she kind of stormed off after she was done on the mic and kind of stormed
I
out
don't
of
think
the
she
room.
came back.
No, no, no. She definitely didn't
I
come
don't remember
back.
her. Yeah.
She was probably very embarrassed. Like, straight up.
Oh, I'm sure.
She was probably embarrassed. I mean, I don't like to describe it as she lost, but like, she was
Mhm.
enlightened and clearly disproven, and she kind of ran out of the room storming off. She had tears in her eyes. She was obviously
Yeah.
embarrassed, but I
Oh
think
yeah.
someone, I guarantee that people in that room went and talked to her, because even the people who didn't believe like Christianity, when they would be done on the mic, you'd have all these Christians in the room walk up to him saying, "Oh, you did a good job asking questions. I hope
Mhm.
you're doing okay." And that was the beautiful love that I saw in the room, that I'm like, man, you do not get that at political debates. You do not get
No, no,
that
no.
at any debates. But when you're in a room full of Christians, and even if you come at Cliff pretty hard, you had all these people after, maybe the atheists, whatever you want to call them, were done on the mic. You'd have Christians come up to him like, "You did a good job. Like, good job asking
Mhm.
questions. I hope you find Jesus. And, if you ever need someone to talk to," like, they were all just being super loving and supporting. And so was Cliff.
Yep.
And that was great. I
Yeah.
love that.
No, yeah. That was what I loved about Cliff too at the end of these even like the talks, the long talks, like the 45-minute guy, or it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes. These are long sessions
Right.
with one person. At the end of it, I love how he always would shake their hand, be like, "It was a joy talking to you." It was he genuine. You could see it too on his face and how he spoke. He genuinely enjoyed not debating, but simply discussing. Because that's the thing. It's not really a debate. Like, someone may look at this and be like, "Oh, it's trying to be a debate." He's not trying to. He never really tries to debate anything. It's just simply he's trying to answer questions the best to his ability. And kind of going back to what I said, if he doesn't know, he doesn't know. He,
Yeah.
he he mentions that, and he's like, "Look, I can't tell you now. Maybe in the future, I'll know the answer to that. But as of right now, I don't know.
I
I
think
don't
that
know."
was
And
one
he's
of his most
respectful.
commonly said things, is like, "I do not know." He's like, four
Yeah.
things I do not know. And
Yeah, I
that's
remember he
that's
said that. Yeah.
that's being honest. That's like an
Mhm.
honest take. Like, he's like, "Hey, if I don't know," like, he's like, "I can't speak on God's behalf. All I can say is
Amen.
I don't know. But at least I can try my best to look at scripture and provide an answer. And if I can't, I do not know." That's just how it is. And that's honesty. Because in a lot of people,
Mhm.
man, when they're passionate about their beliefs, they'll do anything to protect their beliefs. And even going as far as lying, and even talking
Yep.
about things they don't know what they're talking about. But Cliff is honest about that.
And what's interesting about that? I just thought of this now. Is you can really apply that not just to Christianity. Like us here on YouTube, we may know certain things and we may do our research for a podcast or a regular video. I may do some Minecraft related like an update, or you might do an anime update or something. And
Mm,
there'll be people in the comments being like, "Oh, that's wrong," and all this. It's like, look, sometimes we get things wrong. Sometimes we get things wrong, but we will always address it. Me and James will always address that we are not always right. So we'll get things mixed up, or we just simply don't know. And we'll say that too. Like, look, I don't know. I don't know what the future is for this update, that update, whatever. Um, but we think this, it might not happen, might happen, whatever. We'll address it. And I think that goes for really everything, not just here on YouTube either. If just be honest, man, just be honest. Honesty is always going to get you far.
yeah, no, I agree with that. Being honest is important, and there are times on my YouTube channel it would be way more convenient for me to lie about something and say that I know about
Mm,
something and even get me views doing it that way. But no, if I'm like, hey, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I don't know. I don't know. There are certain things I don't know. I mean, I don't got any special insight into like the animation industry and like what projects they're working
mhm.
on next. But I can hypothesize. Like I did that with Cyberpunk. I was like, I don't know what they're gonna make that's next. I could have sat there and be like, for sure they're gonna make an anime for Cyberpunk for season 2 regarding this, or that. And I was like, even on my Cyberpunk videos, I'm like, I don't know what's gonna be next, but you know
Right.
what? This is my idea, right? But there's a lot of people who would do that. They'll tell you that they know everything, especially about their point of view, and they'll go as far as lying to try to convince you. And that's deceptive. It's wrong. It's immoral. And Cliff is definitely not that person. Cliff was he was an amazing guy. He was honest. He was
Oh
respectful,
yeah.
and like you said, after a student was like done, he would often shake their hand or give them a hug. And
Hmm.
that
Yep.
that that was good. I love that. I love that because that's showing respect. That's showing that there's no hard feelings at the end of the day. We might disagree. I hope you come to Christ. God bless. That's it.
Amen. Yes, sir. Now that makes me want to move on though, because we got Cliff. He was a great guy and everything, but Stuart, bro, Stuart,
Stuart. Yeah.
he was crazy too. I can't lie. I loved what he said. A lot of wisdom, man. A lot of wisdom.
He had a different type of aura. He's like his father, but like a little bit more energetic because he's obviously younger.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he's also very compassionate. Like I never really see him get really energetic, even with like certain like speakers. He's very, very compassionate. Even I would even say a little bit more than Cliff, which is surprising. But like he's very, very nice. And I think honestly, like at first, I'm not gonna lie, when I would listen to Cliff and Stuart would come on, I'd be like, I don't want to listen to him. I only want to hear Cliff. Cliff's a cool guy. But then as time has gone by, I've listened to Stuart. I'm like, man, this guy's very cool. I like this guy. I like listening to
Mm-hmm.
this guy preach. He has good things to say, and he's also got a special kind of aura to him. He's really,
He
really
does,
freaking
yeah.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get a picture with him though. That was a little bit more
No.
difficult. I'm not gonna lie, Cliff. He was a little bit more outgoing. He'd walk around the room if Stuart was talking, and he would just randomly talk to people and take breaks and whatever. But Stuart, he kind of kept to himself. But a lot of people at the end really wanted to talk to him, and there was like no way. Even Eli was trying to get a
Yeah.
picture with him, and it was impossible. He was like sucked into a
Yeah, it's
debate.
insane.
It was crazy at the end. Like everyone wanted to talk to Stuart, which, you know, that's because Cliff was everywhere and he was just talking to
I
everybody and everything like
and
that. It
I
was
kind of feel
beautiful.
bad too because they had to leave at what 5, right?
Yeah,
They
there
had
was
to
just
leave because
yeah,
we end. I thought it was gonna actually be until 5, but
yeah,
it ended up ending early at 4:30 because they had to leave at 5.
yeah. They have to leave that
So
room
that
at
that was a
5.
little unexpected. I was hoping extra 30 minutes in there, but we got the majority of the time, and we did show up a little late, but we got most of it, which is fine.
Yeah,
So
which was fine. And we also could have had more time, but
yeah.
oh my gosh, bro! I hope he's listening to this. I know you're listening to this. We had another friend.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
God bless him too.
No
We love
names.
him. No
Yeah.
names.
No.
No
No
name.
names.
No no
No
no
names.
names. But
Anonymous here.
we love the dude, man. But we had to drive out of Portland. it was like a 2-hour drive from Portland over to OSU. And it ended up being a little bit longer because we took 2 cars, which was fine. I was in one car with my brother and Eli. Sam was in a car with the other friend who took his own car because he does not like being a passenger. He likes driving his own car, which respectfully, that's fine. Like, I understand that. Having that freedom, I understand it. But we were planning on hitting In-N-Out Burger on the way there. We made a little bit of extra time. We were cutting it close, but we made the extra time to hit In-N-Out because it's the only In-N-Out in the entire state of Oregon. There is one In-N-Out. You cannot mess it up. One In-N-Out. So mind you, Portland is at the top of Oregon. This In-N-Out is like further towards the center. That's like where OSU is. And we were going to hit In-N-Out on the way. So we leave Portland and we're going to In-N-Out because we have it marked because it's along the same freeway. And we make it to the In-N-Out, and I think I texted you guys or called you guys. I'm like, oh, are you almost here?
Oh, yeah, you called us, yeah.
Right. And then you guys were like, yeah, we're a little bit late, and I don't think we're going to make it. And I'm like, why? You guys were right behind us when we left Portland. And it's because our bro, again, love him. God bless. Bro put In-N-Out on his Google Maps, the one all the way in Seattle, Washington. Nowhere near us, in the opposite direction, in an entire different state. And this guy didn't think about this until he saw a sign saying you are heading to Seattle.
No, that's the thing. It was not him who noticed. It was me. I was
in
the passenger seat, just chilling. Bro's driving, chilling. I'm like, pretty nice scenery, all this, like city and all this. And then all of a sudden I see the sign says Seattle. I'm like, Seattle? that's up from here. Why like, are we gonna do a loop or something? I checked the maps. We're heading towards Washington. I'm like, bro, and I'm not even kidding. We were almost there. We're already almost crossing the border to Washington. I'm not kidding.
You actually almost crossed the bridge into Washington?
We almost did. Yes, bro. Another like 10, 15 miles and we would have already been, we would have been done, bro.
That is actually freaking crazy, dude.
And and I'm like, I was like, hey, bro, I got some bad news. We're going the wrong way. Okay. And he's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, we're going the wrong way,
If that's the case, there's no way that you guys were like 27 minutes away from the campus. There's absolutely no way. Because if you went in the opposite direction for that long, there's no way you guys were just like...
No, he was speeding. He was speeding, bro.
Yeah, but like
dude.
But we were like zooming all the way to the campus, and we still were like, oh yeah, we have like 23 minutes, and then you or Vargo were like, oh yeah, we're only like 27 minutes, and I'm like, oh, they just like made a little mess up. It's fine. They'll just miss out on In-N-Out Burger. No, there's no way it was 27 minutes. There's no way.
No, well, because you have to take note too. We didn't even stop by In-N-Out. I wanted to go with bro to In-N-Out because I've never gone to In-N-Out, and then. It just never. I just said, you know what? We're already behind big time. We gotta backtrack and then go the extra 2 hours that we were supposed to do from the beginning. And so I said, you know what? Screw it. We're not doing In-N-Out. We're just gonna pass. And he's like, all right, sounds good. So we're flying, like 80 miles an hour on a 65, like the majority of the way. I know illegal. Okay, I do not suggest viewers. I do not suggest it. Okay, but you gotta do what you gotta do to make that trip over to Cliff, okay? That's an exception, bro.
There's no way, man. There's literally one In-N-Out in the entire state, and bro's like, yep. But this place out in the middle of Oregon looks a lot like Seattle.
Bro, I checked the map too beforehand. I'm like, all right, I see it. I see the one in Oregon. It's down below, right? It's kind of central Oregon. I'm like, all right, cool. And then bro says, all right, I got it. I was going to say, do you want me to get on the maps? He said, no, I got it. I was like, all right, cool. I trusted him. We chilling. And then it just doesn't end up working out. Like, okay.
I've actually made the joke about him like several times Because there was one time we went downtown and bro could not find the food carts we were supposed to go to, and he had Google Maps and he was like leading us in the most random places. I'm like, you know what? Lit me to it. And I found it like within 5 seconds on Google Maps, and we were able to get there within like a few minutes. And then there was another time where he was like, we were talking about getting to the bus station downtown, and I'm like, oh, where should we go? And he's like, I know a shortcut. It was not that much shorter, but we walked literally down this street that legit looked like a scene out of The Walking Dead. And as you know, downtown Portland is not a great place. I know Portlanders are going to cope hard, but Portland is not a great place. It is full of homeless and drugs and all sorts of stuff.
It's crazy, man.
We walked down this street. By the way, it wasn't blocked off. It wasn't. But there were literally, when I say this, literally bodies in the street. Have no idea if these people were alive.
What?
Yes, I'm not joking.
What the heck, bro?
There were I should have recorded this. I legit should have recorded this. There were literally bodies in the street, and they were just laying there, have no idea if these people were alive, and we were literally stepping over people on the sidewalk to get to this bus stop. And I was like, no. You know for a fact people know this street is so bad because cars will willingly not drive down it because they know they can't drive in the street because there's bodies in the street and on the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
So he literally brought us down the worst street probably in downtown Portland I think I have ever seen. This guy is literally the Zorro of directions in our friend group. He will lead you in a completely random direction. Again, love him. He's amazing. But man, do not ask him for directions. Do not listen to him when he says he has directions, because he almost put you in an entirely different state and city and said, yep, right. This looks like OSU, Seattle, Washington. Good thing you noticed.
Yeah, I know. You know what? This is all I gotta say. People have skills. Everybody's blessed with skills. They're not the same though, okay? Like some people are more skilled at driving than others. Some people are more skilled at checking directions and looking at maps than others, okay?
Right.
We're not gonna hate on that, okay? It's just a little goofy, little bit of a mix up, but you know.
Everyone has their own skills. He's good at other things. A lot better than me at a lot of things, especially things like art. Like he can do that way better than I can do it. But yeah. No, it was a good trip. It was a lot of fun. It was nice to meet Cliff. He was a very aura-filled man, and loved getting a picture with him. And I hope we'll do this in the future, is like go to more events like this, like see George Janko. We missed out on that.
Yeah, George Janko would have been sick, bro.
For sure.
I really hope he ends up coming back next year, because I was really excited doing that, but things just happened and we didn't end up doing it. But
things happen.
Maybe next time. Yeah, things happen. Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Hey, you know what? If he comes to Seattle though, I mean, we can drive up there.
At least our friend can get us there. He knows the way there.
Yeah, but, he knows the way there.
But you'll have to tell him that we're going to the beach. Otherwise, if you tell him we're going to Seattle, he'll probably go to like Alaska.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So you have to like give him the opposite direction or something.
Yeah, the opposite. It's just how it works, man.
Yeah. Anyways, that's all I have to really say about that. I think I'm excited for future events that we go to and talking about it, and I'm curious if anyone has any subjects for future podcasts and stuff like that, because we actually have another idea that we're going to film, and it's actually Christian and anime related, so it's actually going to be really cool. Sir. And you have anything you want to say before we close out? You want to plug your stuff?
I mean, you can hit me up anytime, bro. But sam.exe, link in the description. Yeah, you know. But I was just gonna say real quick is what is it coming up? Comic-Con or something like that? No, not Comic-Con.
I think it's
Fan Expo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should talk about that, dude.
Okay.
I think that could be fun. I think that could be fun.
Our experience at Fan Expo. We have some pretty crazy experiences. I'm not gonna lie. We do some cosplays, and you get all sorts of people to come up and talk to you straight up. It's one of the best ways to interact with people on that stuff. They'll literally come up to you. If you do a good cosplay, I did Toji. I had people coming up to me all day asking for pictures. It's a lot of fun. It really is. But yeah, we'll do that.
Heck yeah, bro.
continue to watch these. We will eventually get these uploaded to Spotify, but we're trying to generate some episodes first, and we just thought this would be fun to just come on here and rant, talk about things, and
Ranting.
yeah. And if
You
you have
already
any
know.
suggestions, let us know down below. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. La boo boo, la boo boo,
This
la
guy always
boo
with the la
boo,
boo boo, bro.
la
Always.
boo boo, la boo boo.